Hello there, 19th of January 2024. Welcome to Essex UK and my name is Dan. So today I'm going to be doing some planting. I made a planting video just under 2 weeks or so ago and you'll find that in my uploads. I'll link that in the description box below if you'd like to check that one out as well. So we're going to be going into the polytunnel here where we're going to be doing our planting. So we have actually been experiencing a little bit of cold weather by UK standards of late. Temperatures down to about -5 degrees C, which is around 23 degrees Fahrenheit. But the temperature's soon to bounce back, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, let's go in the polytunnel and start our planting. So just before we get on with our planting, please feel free to like the video, share it please with anyone who may find it interesting and or useful, and if you'd like to be notified of when I put up any further videos, please feel free to subscribe. Let's go. So I'm going to be using a Koya growing medium here, which I purchased off Amazon. I made it up in the video that I uploaded about 12 days ago, so you might want to check that one out, the same video I mentioned earlier. So that's what it looks like. I'm hoping that's coming out well on the camera there. And I'm going to be using some cell trays and some pots here for my planting. What I'm going to do is just push it down a little bit like this. Not too firm, but just to give a little bit of a base. About the same on all of them, like so. So the subject of planting in gardening is a very interesting one. So I'm very interested to hear what you've planted. What are you going to plant? When did you start planting what you've planted already? And maybe put the country you're in, the USDA zone you're in if you know it, and I'd find that very interesting, and I'm sure that many others out there would as well. So let's start off with our first planting of today, and that's going to be Champion of England tall climbing pea. So many people ask me, where do I get a lot of my seeds from? And one of my favourite places to get my seeds from is Real Seeds, realseeds.co.uk. They've got a very good website. I think they're based in Wales here in the UK, and good ethics and very good products as well. So Champion of England tall climbing pea, old variety collected by Robert Woodbridge's grandfather in 1940 from a manor garden in Pickworth Links, kept alive by his grandmother and passed to us in 2007. So I've grown these before and got a very good crop out of them. I'll link numerous videos, in fact, in the description box below, showing much of what I've grown here in more detail, covering the whole process. And I did make a dedicated pea video a few years ago, so I'll check that one out if you can. Let's plant. So down we are here, and all I'm going to do is get out some peas and simply put 1, 2 in each module. So you can get dwarf varieties. These will need considerable support, things to grow up, because they are a tall pea, but you don't need to use tall varieties. Use one that interests you to grow. So 2 in each one there. I'll do another one. So next up we will plant our Globo large mild onions, and you see what I've got there, look, just my pot, and all I'm going to do is just scatter a few in there like that. Now, very informal that, you see what I've done, just going to spread them out a bit so you can see how I've sown those seeds in there like that. So some of you might be going, Dan, why have you done it like that, planted them like that? Well, a little bit experimental for me this is, and I'm also trying to use up the least space for germination as possible this year. So this is how I'm doing it. Now, What I would have done classically in under normal procedures, if that's the correct term, I can demonstrate actually using a tray like this here. What I'll do is fill that up with growing medium and sow one seed individually per cell and then transplant out at a later date. But doing this is partly an experiment. I really can't see that it will go massively wrong, and it'll be a great way of germinating loads of these in a very small space, and I can then transplant out at a later date. But of course, we'll see how it goes, and all being well, I'll be doing a video where I plant them out, so hopefully there will be some success coming there. So next up for planting is a variety of true spinach called Medania. Bloomsdale Longstanding is also another good variety of true spinach to grow. So you notice I'm using the term true spinach. So quite often we grow perpetual spinach, otherwise known as leaf beet chard, as a spinach substitute, but it's not actually a spinach, it's actually a member of the chard family. It's very good, it's just not true spinach. And these taste maybe a little bit on the sweeter side, true spinach, as opposed to perpetual spinach. So there is a difference there. Some people might not be able to tell the difference, some can, and quite often the reason why perpetual spinach is grown is because it's said to be hardier and more drought tolerant. You can grow it over winter probably easier than something like this you can in a colder climate anyway. So perpetual spinach, very good, but this is a variety of true spinach. So we're going to plant these out now. So with regards to true spinach, one reason why you plant it early in the year, such as now, is because when it starts to warm up and the days get longer, it can actually bolt, go to seed. So you want to get your plant in relatively early as is sensibly possible, and then get your crop before it bolts, go to seed. There we are, let's plant. So they're actually quite nice seeds to plant. So let's, whoa, way too many there, but never mind, we'll put them back. So I'm actually going to go just one per tray, or cell rather, within the tray, just like so. So actually, I made a decision to put 2 in each cell, 3 in that one. So you can always prick out, you can always take out, discard, pot on, whatever. But sowing more than you need, or more than one per cell, can be very good if you don't get to germination of just the one. Next up for planting today are leeks. So I've got a variety here, Lyon, L-Y-O-N, Lyon. You have to forgive me if which one of those pronunciations is correct. Produces long, thick, white stems. A good source of vitamins A and C and potassium and folic acid, so very nutritious, as well as indeed everything is that I've planted today. When you're doing your gardening, what you're planting, really think about the lovely nutrition you're adding to you, your friends, your families, whoever you cook for's diet. Very, very important. It's just an interesting question. When you're eating food that you've grown yourself or someone else has grown, you know, considered homegrown or allotment grown or whatever, do you feel any healthier when you eat more of that than you would, say, supermarket food, market food, mass-produced food, etc.? You know what I'm trying to say. Do you feel any better or not? Because would be quite an interesting thing to sort of have a little discussion about, really, because we all want to feel as strong and as vigorous and healthy as possible, don't we? So what I'm going to do is fill up my little pot there with some more of the coir. So leek, L-Y-O-N, and same as the onions, scatter them on like that, move them about a bit. Let's have a few more, shall we? There we are. So I'm going to stick tags on what I've grown so that I know what I'm growing. I recommend people do that because it can be quite annoying if you don't know what you're growing or where you planted things, etc. So what I do is I put the date on, so 19th of January in the case of today, what it is, leek in the case of that, and then I also put the variety. Variety is very important, particularly if you're growing more than one variety of the same plant. So very good. Tag in there. So I'm going to be planting, putting these cell trays, pots, etc. in a windowsill propagator like this. So all I do is just get my cells, make sure that your windowsill propagator's a hole, make sure there's no leaks, because you don't want water to be trickling down your walls. That's not good. And then we just put our pots in like so. So here they are, and it's very good because what you can sometimes do is you can sometimes squeeze a little bit, yep, there we are, a little bit more room when you're doing this sort of thing. So I'm actually going to grow another load of peas, I've decided. So what we do now is we just put our coir on top, such as this. Do that on all of them. So regarding watering, I'm not actually going to be doing any watering of these today because this coir is moist. So there we are, all planted lovely and then placed in a windowsill propagator, which is going on an indoor windowsill. They'll germinate quite fine in there, even at this time of year, no problem. So I've never actually used heated propagators, anything like that. I'm not saying I never will, but it's an avenue of gardening I've never went down. I've never really had a need to do that. I prefer to use sort of natural microclimates, you know, such as windowsills, windowsill propagators, etc. And many of you have seen I've germinated many heat-loving crops over the years: melons, watermelons, chilies, peppers, aubergines. You've seen me germinate them, no problem. So that's not something I'm going to get into at the moment, but in the future I may well do. Now, a little bit of a word about this coir that I'm using here. So I've never used it before. You saw me in the previous planting video uploaded a couple of weeks ago. I used it. I made it up, so we'll see how that does. There's quite a drive at the moment, isn't there, about going peat free. So I've made numerous composting videos over the years. I'll link a load of those in the description box below. You can check them out if you want, made from readily available ingredients. So they would probably be quite worth your time checking those videos out. And this coir here, of course, because we're experiencing some relatively cold weather at the moment, this would still be freezing and like a hard lump at this time of year, considering the weather out here now, had I not brought it in last night. So last night I brought it in, defrosted it, and I've used it today, no problem. It's also a good idea, if you can, to not be dropping seeds into freezing cold compost, even seeds which may be considered more cold tolerant. Certainly if you're growing something like melons, you know, you really don't want to even consider doing anything like that. So any questions you've got on that, or indeed any questions at all, please feel free to comment below. I think I answered every question on my last two videos I put up. If I haven't, naughty me, and ask the question again, and we'll now have a look at something else I've planted in the garden. I've got some garlic planted under here. Now, the variety I've planted here is actually a shop-bought variety which I got from Lidl, variety Morado, it said on the packet, and country of origin was Spain. So there we are. Now, there are varieties that you can get to grow in the UK. Solent White is a good one. You might want to look into that. You can buy them now. You can plant them from around October till about March time, if I remember correctly. I'd have preferred to have got that variety and got it planted around October, November last year, but it didn't happen, and this year I'm going to give it a go with these shop-bought ones. So what I've done is I planted them in there, just in the ground, got them covered up with this little bit of plastic here with some wood, kept on the top to stop it blowing away. So what can quite often happen if you plant garlic out in the garden like so is birds can pull them up, and it can be very annoying. I'll show you under here. There'll be nothing to see simply because nothing will have germinated yet, but come back in a few weeks and you'll see what I've done. All I did was planted them root side down about a couple of centimetres, couple of inches down, and then just cover them up with soil. Very simple indeed. And then literally just put my covers on top like that, and then just put the soil around it a little bit just to keep it down so that it doesn't blow away, and that's it. So here they are. Inside they will go. Hopefully they'll be up within about 3 weeks, and I intend to be making regular videos so you can see how these do, and indeed other seeds I've already planted and more that I will continue to plant. So really excited about this year and loads to be getting on with. How's your gardening going? Always very interested to hear. Gives me encouragement to hear how well you are all getting on. And just remember, if things don't go well, then put it down to experience and try again. This morning I baked a few loaves of bread and they were absolutely horrendous. So everyone makes mistakes in life, everyone gets things wrong, and in gardening that is certainly indeed no exception to that rule. So there we are. Let's see how we all do. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for your time. Check out them videos and see you all soon.